Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, even though that was a weird game.
Never in doubt.
What a weird game. It wasn't actually that much in doubt in a lot of ways. Buffalo's such a terrible team in its own way, even though they... So the grade A shots were... What do we get them, Bruce? 27 to 16 for Buffalo. 27 grade A shots.
Record?
No. I think like they played Colorado. I remember there's been a couple track meets against Colorado where it was like 29 to 22 for Colorado.
Okay.
Of course, now that they've traded Ranton and those days are gone. Just kidding. 27 to 16 for the Buffalo Sabres over the Edmonton Oilers, with the subset of 5 alarm shots, 14 to 8. Bruce, the Oilers usually give up about 11 grade A shots and about 6 5 alarm shots. 27 and 14 today for Buffalo. That game was a crap show for the Edmonton Oilers. So there's that.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of overreacting in my living room watching the game.
I was just so busy. I was just so busy doing the grade A shots. I just could hardly keep up.
43. I mean, that's got to be a high for the year for the two teams combined.
I was feeling physically ill. It was so much work. Like I was overwhelming a number of grade A shots to review in a game. It was just like endless. Like, no, not more. And there's just more and more.
Let's lose another face-off and have 2 more full slap shots in the next 4 seconds. That seemed to be the way it was going.
Bruce, this is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. And because there was a surprising number of good things to talk about, we will go with 2 good things each. There's so many bad things. We could just go on and on and on.
10 bad things each.
It was just such poor. Bruce, it wasn't just that there was no like second effort from the Oilers. There was no first effort from the Edmonton Oilers defensively in this game. It was
defensively.
Defensively. On the attack, they were fine. Bruce, what is your first good thing?
Well, it can only be Stuart Skinner. Flat out stole the win and the 2 points for his team in this game, where they were flat. They were flat right out of the gate. Was it 25 seconds into the first period? Tage Thompson, Buffalo's leading goal scorer, walking in alone on goal, eyeball to eyeball with Skinner, and Skinner somehow was able to thwart his attempted deke. It wasn't officially a shot. And Jack and Louie were talking a little later about how he hadn't felt the puck yet. I guess they must have forgot that opening. But that game could have been an 0-1 hole, in the first half minute.
Yeah.
And Edmonton kind of played better after that in the first. Edmonton outshot Buffalo 12-5 in the first, but their defensive zone play was never that great, and Stu did have to make a couple of pretty good saves in the first. What was it in the first for grade A's?
I don't know, Bruce.
Yeah. Well, they had 4 out of their 5 shots. I mean, that's kind of how it was going. And anyway, in the second period, they threw 17 shots on him, including 8 during a single power play, and the 9th one that finally went in the net about 5 seconds after the power play expired. And I mean, it was Skinner against the world for that whole power play.
Mm-hmm.
Then Edmonton finally got their one and only power play, and they celebrated by giving up 2 breakaways. Skinner stopped both of those. And then in the third period, I'm giving the abridged Cole's Notes version. I mean, if I wanted to go through all these chances, we'd need an extra hour on the podcast. Third period, with the score tied 2-2 going in, Edmonton gets outshot 20-7 by Buffalo Sabres, playing their exact same schedule as Edmonton. They played Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, except for they played in 3 different cities, and Edmonton was all here and at home. But you'd never believe that Edmonton had any kind of rest advantage going into this game. Anyway, this is my good thing, so we'll dwell on
I
our
was
other
I was
stuff.
just thinking that, Bruce. I was thinking, did we
Skinner
start with the
Skinner
bad thing?
kept
Did we
answering,
start with
kept
the bad
answering
thing?
the challenges. He kept answering the challenges. One, two,
Yes.
three, four, five, six in a row to start the third period before Edmonton scored on their first grade A. And then three more down the stretch. And just standing in, looking through screens, time and again, like open one-timers. And the Oilers were, the goalie was the only thing saving them from a frankly embarrassing outcome. It was kind of an embarrassing performance, but it will be lost in the sands of time, which show the Oilers actually won this game 3-2, so all's well. Thank you, Stu Skinner.
I know that this isn't. We're not doing bad things, but
Yep.
Evan Bouchard, Bruce,
Oh, I was going
made
to mention him later.
eight major mistakes
Oh.
on grade A shots. 8. That's enough. That's enough for 5. If a defenseman did that over 5 games, he'd be hanging in there in one game. That's horrendous defending by Bouchard. But he wasn't alone. And Bruce, like, it's funny because, like, I'm going to talk about one grade A shot in particular, but there was so many. It was such an onslaught. There was so many mistakes. It's just kind of all blends together. But what's the interesting thing is when Stuart Skinner stands on his head, you don't really often remember like spectacular saves. You just remember repeated saves, just again and again and again. This big goalie in proper position, solidly blocking shot after shot after shot in unspectacular fashion, but getting the job done. That's how he plays. And when he's doing that, he's obviously a number one goalie in the NHL and a goalie who can help the Oilers win the Stanley Cup as he almost did last year. So
Almost did, yeah. And I mean, this game he did give up 2 goals, so not perfect, Stu. Need to be better. But Oilers were able to find 3, and typically most games they do get 3. And
yeah,
if his job is to give his team a chance to win, and he accomplished that in spades in this game. And a little bit of luck at the end with luck. That was a correct call of an overturned, apparent tying goal that was overturned for kicking motion. And there was no sort of deep breath time at any time in this game, right? Leon misses a empty net, and Buffalo gets another 40 seconds, and I think 3 more blasts on net.
Jeez, I wish he had. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
that was not.
that was
How did he
unbelievable.
miss? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce, my good thing is the Oilers' second goal.
Mhm.
The first goal was a mighty fine goal. It was good offensive zone play, and Jeff Skinner gets a goal, which is good to see because he's been close to scoring and he finally
Yeah,
got one. But the
against his
second
old
goal
team.
that tied it up was just a great play by a number of Edmonton Oilers. It starts off in Edmonton's end with Ekholm throwing it up the ice, and Kapanen gets the puck at the blue line, and he makes a great spinorama move, passes it out from behind the net and goes to Nugent Hopkins. Kapanen kind of puts it across the crease, and then it kind of sits there. Doesn't they're not able to clear it, and Nuge slams in and puts home the goal. But the best play was again Corey Perry on this play. He charges the net hard and he stays outside of the crease. But in as Kapanen's going to the net, the goalie's pulled over there, and because he's worried about Kapanen scoring. And when he's coming back, his stick gets wedged between Perry and the post. Perry's just standing there. He's not doing anything. He's completely legal. And because of that, though, because he's off balance, because he can't get his stick free, he's unable to get over and make the save on Nugent Hopkins. But Perry's hard charge has taken 2 defenders with him, pinned him, and those defenders have pinned him there against the post with the goalie's stick. And again, Corey Perry's high, off the charts hockey smarts I'll call them, not hockey IQ, Bruce, because I know you hate that term. His high hockey smarts results in a goal for. It was the kind of play that makes opposing fans crazy with loathing about Corey Perry, which was the case when Corey Perry was on other teams. That's how we felt about him. We could not stand him. I mean, Vancouver, Bruce, has essentially lost its mind in the last couple of days over Corey Perry, which is really funny to watch. It's just so painful for a opposing fan base to process that kind of player. And we've been through this at Edmonton, right? We know what it's like with players like Kessler and Perry, Getzlaff, Billy Smith way back in the day. We've lived this, but today the Sabres fans got a taste of it. What it's like to go up against one of these super smart players who constantly goes right on the edge of the rules to make good plays.
Yeah, well, he kind of tied up a little bit James Reimer's stick there on the post, and
yeah,
and commentary team was a little surprised Buffalo didn't challenge. The thought was maybe he'd been pushed in there, but I don't know. They might have won that challenge. And on the other hand, the refs might have just said, "Well, what do we say to Corey?" I'm never going to let that go, David.
Bruce, I have not known you to let anything go. So when it comes to hockey, at least, maybe in other aspects of your life, you're completely easygoing. But in hockey,
I'm largely, but I do bear grudges in certain aspects.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
My second good thing, David's going to be the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
His third goal, and the second credited to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who early in the game had missed a glorious chance when James Reimer completely took himself out of the play, diving for a puck and not clearing it. And Nuge was unable to beat the Buffalo defender. And I was beside myself thinking he's never going to score again at 5-on-5. Well, he did score again, and then he scored again to tie it and then to win it. And the winning goal was quite a play, and quite a poor play by Buffalo defending, I have to say, but also some pretty nice passing around the offensive zone, which we didn't see a whole lot of in the game, frankly. But on this play, very nice with Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, and Nurse involved, and the puck went back to the point to Bouchard, who passed it into the left wing corner for Nurse, and Nugent Hopkins, who just missed the prior chance, he just kind of floated into the right wing side, and it was like Buffalo just forgot he was there. Number 20 on Buffalo, Kulik, is it? Yeah, he's not going to look forward to the game film room tomorrow morning reviewing what happened in this game. He had a pretty darn good game in Edmonton's end of the ice, Kulik. He was bloody dangerous. But on this play, he just looked like he had no idea what to do, and he just kind of floated into the slot in front of the net, covering no one or no lane, the red light zone, we tend to call it. And Nurse made a great pass from the corner. He zipped it right past Kulik. And I think Rasmus Dahlin was the defender in the general area, right onto the tape of Nugent Hopkins at the far post. And Reimer just had too far to come over, and Nuge was able to put it upstairs and put it away for the 3-2 lead and ultimately the win. And good play by, well, especially Nurse and Nuge on the finishing end part of it.
You can tell you're in the red light zone if you're a hockey player, Bruce. You're in the defensive end defending, and you have the sense that you're not quite in the right spot, and all of a sudden you hear the crowd erupt in cheers. You know you're in the red light zone. And both Kulich.
It's a road game, yeah.
Kulich and who was the other? The other guy was actually worse. Kulich was in the slot.
Paterka was kind of out of it.
Paterka was actually RNH's man. And so Kulich, both of those guys were in the red light zone, not covering anyone, not covering a passing lane. And they just let that pass through. And neither of them had their stick on the ice. Neither of them was in correct defensive posture. Neither of them shoulder checked, and they both made hideous defensive errors in crunch time to lose the game for the Buffalo Sabres. If this is why they're in their decade of darkness plus whatever it is for them. Plays like that defensively by young hockey players, that lack of defensive intensity, it absolutely kills the team, and it killed the Buffalo Sabres tonight. So, Bruce, go ahead. Go ahead. You had something you wanted to add.
I was going to say that there was plenty of mistakes like that at both ends, and I would say more at the other end. But Buffalo made the critical one that Edmonton was able to bury for the crucial play. And
so the good thing about the Oilers, as many mistakes as they made early in the game, they were in the last 4 minutes. They didn't allow a grade A shot. There was one B+ shot from the slot after Draisaitl failed to score, but there was a couple of really great defensive plays near the end of the game, and two come to mind for me. I think it was Tage Thompson who was breaking into the slot, and Ekholm caught up to him and slashed the puck off his stick, which was a great. That guy is going to score in that moment. He's a big game player. It's 50-50, and Ekholm made the play. Now there was just a really weak penalty called after that, but we won't get into it. And then on the I think it's on the ensuing power play, Ty Amberson blocks a shot, which was it was a one-timer shot, good pass, great shot. Ty Emerson got down and blocked it. And those two defensive plays, probably, they kept the Oilers lead. Those were both extremely dangerous moments. And their two best defenders this year, I think, Ekholm and Emberson, the guys that were out at the end of the game, because that's who the coach trusts right now. They came up big. Yeah, they came up big. They're both really good defensive players, and it's great to see Emberson rise to the occasion and become such a key defensive hockey player for the Oilers, and it ensures his spot in the lineup, I think, for the playoffs. So,
another point for him tonight. He's up to 9 assists.
Wow.
On the season, and he had 3 points after 32 games.
Yeah,
and now he has 6 in his last 15, I think.
Well, he's trying to do more, isn't he? Like he's actually asserting himself more. That he's joining in the attack, joining in the rush, moving into plays, trying to get involved, and he can make a pass, and he's fast. So
and he can get a shot through from the point, which is how he got his point today. And he's had a few like that were either tipped in, or in this case, it was a rebound that Jeff Skinner deposited.
Yeah.
So he's got some offense, and he, like all other defensemen, didn't have a perfect game in the back end, but I'm seeing very encouraging things from that player.
Well, he made at even strength one major mistake on a grade A shot, and again, Evan Bouchard made 8. What about Nurse? Just 1 for Nurse. Ekholm 3. Kulak 1. And Stetcher 2. So I think we can see who might have kind of been at the heart of the Oilers' defensive weakness
defenseman weakness. I thought the forward
Draisaitl made
defensive
4.
play was poor in general terms as well. And
yeah, what's your bad thing, Bruce?
Well, that's where I was going, and it's I just think generally Edmonton's poor defense, and I described some of it earlier. If I want to single in on one thing, it's that maybe that one power play in the second period. Yeah. I've never seen a power play like this. Buffalo outshot Edmonton 8-3. Trying 1 2-minute power play, 8-3. Oilers had 3 shots in the first 20 seconds of the penalty kill. Noah Phillip had 1. And then Connor Brown had 2 after the subsequent face-off, and the Phillip shot was pretty good. And then the puck came down in Edmonton's territory, and there it remained while they just pounded shot after shot, and one seemed like face-off after face-off. Skinner would freeze the puck, and there'd be a face-off, and the next thing you know, he'd be facing another barrage. and the penalty kill completely lost its way, and they got through the 2 minutes, and they celebrated by Bush throwing a muffin up the middle of the ice, and Buffalo coming right back in, and this time burying their. It had to be 9 shots in about 90 or 100 seconds tops that they had 9 shots on net, and they scored on the 9th one, and it just was just not anywhere close to good enough. In this game, Buffalo had 3 power plays, 12 shots on net. Edmonton had 1 power play without a shot, and with a big breakaway chance against that. Not sure what happened because they're not crediting Buffalo with a shorthanded shot. But did Skinner poke check again? I'm trying to remember the play, and
He hit the post.
Oh, he hit the post. That's right. Okay, so
That
it wasn't a
that
shot.
guy.
So it
Yeah, hit the
doesn't
post.
show up as a shorthanded shot, but yeah, it was a very dangerous chance, and it was, those special teams, which should be an Oilers' strength, were just a white knuckle ride today. Even the power play. And
was that shorthanded? Okay. Just trying to think when that was. That was in the 3rd period, I thought.
Oh, okay. Well,
anyway, Malenstein, I think he shot it. Malenstein. Bruce, my bad thing is the first goal against, which I thought was a typical terrible play for this game. Bouchard kicks it off. And I don't know if we should also blame Kapanen. He's way at the blue line, and Bouchard has to hit him with a pass, and he doesn't. It gets picked off in the neutral zone, and Buffalo breaks in, and at the same time, Leon Draisaitl's sneaking off the ice, and it's essentially becomes I think a 4-on-3 rush, and they score on it. So, they're the 2 elite players on the Edmonton Oilers, or 2 of them are Bouchard and Draisaitl, and both of them just with really kind of typical errors for that game. Leon Draisaitl, I was praising him to high heavens last year for being so focused. Not tonight. He didn't have it tonight, and you can't have it every night. But the bad line change is a real signifier that someone's just not sharp, because the Oilers didn't have clear possession when he went off, and it was a mistake, and it ended up as a goal against.
Yeah, well, I saw actually 2 mistakes, and the main one was on Draisaitl himself, who, 3 mistakes, because Bouchard had the puck and didn't look after it. But Draisaitl was on the left wing boards, kind of coming out from his own zone, and he just he meandered past. I get that forwards change at the far gate, but he skated right past the near gate, and he was just sort of really coasting at the end of his shift. As the old Leon was visible in that line change, and he just sort of cruised, sort of 2-legged slow skate, like it took him 2 seconds to get from the one gate to the other gate, and the Buffalo play was coming at him. I'm not saying dive over the boards because it's overtime in the playoffs, but I'm saying, hustle your butt to the bench. The other mistake to me was made by Noah Philp, and this was a rookie mistake, which you expect from rookies, and that was he waited too long for Leon to get to the bench and off. He could have and should have cheated and just jumped, and I don't think they would have called it, because Leon was within a foot of the boards, kind of just gliding on by, right? And I just think he was trying to make sure, and he was late getting back to the play. And I'm not even saying we should ding him with a mistake on the play and by our count. I'm just saying there was a play there that a more veteran player probably would have just jumped the gun and said, he's close enough, I'm getting off, I don't think they're going to call it. Anyway, so not the major mistake, but it compounded the slowness of the line change, which was integral to the goal being scored.
A new age hockey analyst would say that he's got to get in touch with his inner Corey Perry.
Yeah.
Bend those rules, my friend.
Cheating,
Bend those rules. That's right. All right, that's a good point.
No one will ever accuse Corey Perry of not trying.
Yeah. All right. It's funny how suddenly players become kind of folk heroes in Edmonton. It happened with Mike Smith after that fight with was it Talbot?
Cam Talbot.
Yeah, of the Flames. And just suddenly things come up and everyone's just mad for that player and they get a big halo around them. All right. Are we on to numbers, Bruce?
Yeah, I think we made it. You did
Yeah,
your
we
bad
are.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
we're on to numbers. What's your number?
Okay. Well, my number is depends which one I choose. If I use natural stat trick, it's 2.9. If I use evolving hockey, it's 3.8. If I use cult of hockey in our own crude formula, it's 5.3. 5.3. Goals saved above expected by Stu Skinner. The various sites that I just mentioned thought Buffalo was worthy of between 4.9 and 7.3 goals in
Goals
this
that game.
game, and they got two. And it's because Skinner was constantly holding the Sabres at bay. And I mean, the range of numbers there tells you everybody that it's not an exact science. No one should treat it as an exact science, but it is an indicator, an arrow, if you will. And the arrows were that Buffalo should have got a lot more goals than they got in this game. And the obvious reason they didn't goes right back to my first good thing, Stu Skinner, who saved the day, and he's got the numbers to prove it. Not to mention the uh, 40 shot saves on 42 shots. So what's that? 953, I think, somewhere in that range per save percentage in this game. So very, very positive goalie numbers, even with two goals against, to get her done.
Excellent. I think we got it right, Bruce. I think you'd expect about 7 goals against with that many.
Well, we
It's
do for
just
5 alarms a 1 in 3 chance, and for all other grade A's, excluding the 5 alarms, about a 1 in 5 chance.
yeah,
And sort of the mean for all grade A's is about 1 in 4.
correct.
And
It's kind of
and
crude, but
over the
that's how we
long
figure it
term, it
out.
does say that does tend to conform to pretty much those averages. So, I mean, you might say in this one or that, maybe we call it a 5 alarm when maybe it wasn't quite. But I mean, all of those are judgment calls. But both you and I were seeing Buffalo great scoring chances galore in this game.
They had when you get 27 that many, it's called a
Oh,
nightmare of chances. Um, Bruce, my number is first, number 1. The Oilers are first in their division. They played the same number of games as Vegas, and they have
mhm.
1 more point. They've got one more
Sweet,
win. They have the
sweet.
same goal differential. In the last 10 games, the Oilers have won 7 games. Vegas has won 3. They also got a loser point. So, fantastic recovery from the Oilers this season. Not as dramatic, fortunately, as last season. We didn't need that again. It
Right.
was bad enough this year. But just an incredible recovery from the Oilers. And they're rocking, Bruce. They've had some tough stretches of this year, like tough schedule. It strikes me in the last 2 months, especially, where it's just been endless. The Oilers are now third in the NHL with a six. Let's see if that's holds. Yeah, third with a 663 points percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Washington's first with 740. Wow, Washington.
Unreal.
They are a good team, though. I have to say,
Yeah.
like big and skilled.
Big, skilled, hot goalie. They got a lot going
Yeah,
on there.
I think the Oilers match up pretty well though in the playoffs against Washington. So if, if it comes to that, we'll see. So
I
Bruce, that's
think
a really
Vegas might be regretting trading Logan Thompson, don't you?
I don't know.
I
I mean,
heard the
Aiden Hill's.
coaching complaining about their goaltending every the other
Oh,
day. I'm
really?
thinking, you did have this guy,
Well,
the Brock
maybe.
University guy.
Yeah, they're a pretty good defensive team. I still fear the Golden Knights. They're a really good
Well,
hockey
I'm not
team.
saying I don't fear them. I would fear
Yeah,
them more if they had Logan Thompson the way he's playing this year.
yeah.
They would be, they'd be a wagon. So,
I just wish Team Canada had Logan Thompson. Let's not talk about that.
yeah,
We'll be talking about that
Yep.
During the break, we'll be covering Team Canada like we cover the Oilers. We'll be doing grade A. We'll be doing the scoring chances and the grade. I should say the grade A shots for the
Okay.
Team Canada games and podcasts after each game. So
Okay.
I'm just telling you that now,
Okay.
Bruce, on the air.
It's news to me, but that's fine. I'll be watching.
Yeah, I know you will. So, Bruce, there was a bit. Let's just end it off with there was a big trade. Colorado picks up Martin Necas, and Carolina picks up Mikko Rantanen, and Taylor Hall also goes from Chicago to Carolina. They get Taylor Hall. I saw a lot of fans. I'll just start with this. I saw a lot of Oilers fans still hankering for Taylor Hall, and I was thinking, why? And maybe I'm incorrect because I don't have a bird's eye view of like I'm not watching Taylor Hall enough to have a credible opinion. I'll start with that. I don't have a credible opinion on his two-way play right now. But what I've seen from him in recent years is like, I don't know. My non-credible opinion is he's not. I don't see how he helps the Oilers. They already have Jeff Skinner, kind of similar, kind of one-dimensional player. So I wasn't a big fan of the idea of getting Taylor Hall. And anyway, I just think Carolina got a hell of a hockey player in Rantanen. But Colorado got a hell of a player in Martin Necas. I did notice Martin Necas in a really good way the last time Carolina played the Oilers. He's fast, he's skilled, super skilled with the puck. He is an outstanding player. And it gives them now two centers in McKinnon and Necas who are really good, really can play hockey. I don't know what it's going to do in Middlestat. Will he go on the wing or be the third line center? He's not a typical third line center. So
I think Necas played wing with McKinnon today.
he did, eh?
He played 25 minutes, Necas, in his first game
that could be
Colorado.
Scary.
And he wound up -3 in a 3-1 loss. Welcome to the Avs, son.
I don't know if I'd play him with McKinnon. They're both kind of guys who need the puck. That's what I remember from Necas. Is just really, really good with the puck. And McKinnon needs the puck to play. He's Connor McDavid. And Necas isn't Nugent Hopkins, someone who likes to give up the puck to the big guy or Hyman. He's a guy who needs the puck. So anyway, I do think for Colorado, even though they got a good player, Bruce, it's a lot of change on that team. Maybe they're forced into it by injury and other circumstance. The problems that Nikushkin is having, personal problems and other problems. And but Colorado is like, they traded Bowen Byram. They just seem to be a team in turmoil. Maybe they'll turn it on in the playoffs though. And I don't want to see the Oilers play them, honestly, because they're a dangerous team. But I don't know, this trade, like losing Mikko Rantanen, that is such a big player on your team. And he's in the prime of his career. I guess he wanted Leon Draisaitl money,
though. It's a contract thing, David. He was on the last year of his contract. He's exactly parallel to Draisaitl himself.
Yeah.
And in fact, he's represented by the same agency. And he was suggesting that he wanted the same kind of contract that Leon got, 8 times 14. And Colorado didn't want. I mean, they've got McKinnon making already McDavid money at 12.6, and I don't think they wanted to offer anybody else more than they're giving McKinnon.
Yeah.
So that would have been one stumbling block. And they just decided to cut bait, that they weren't going to come to agreement with him, and they were either going to they could rent him essentially for the rest of the season and then come away with nothing, or they could try and trade him for a little bit of a haul. And they got Necas, they got Jack Drury, they got a second and a fourth, I think, out of the deal, and they didn't have to retain anything, Colorado. But man, the guy they gave up, Mikko Rantanen, in his career, he's played 81 playoff games, equivalent to one full regular season, of course, spread over many years. 81 playoff games, 34 goals, 67 assists, 101 points, plus 20.
Yeah, I'm glad he's gone.
McKinnon apparently is not real thrilled that his sidekick has gone. David, this easily could have been Oilers with Draisaitl this year.
I know.
If it hadn't got done last summer, and things were going, they'd either be saying, well, the way I'm playing now, I'm hell with 14 million. I want, 18 million or whatever, because he's had such a great year. But because they looked after business early, it's, in fact, what they wound up doing was setting the bar so high that Colorado couldn't match it with Rantanen. So it's sort of a little bit of a maybe a slight win within their conference. That said, Carolina in a potential Stanley Cup Finals match would be no fun either. So,
Although they're a little short, Natchez was a center for Carolina, was he not? So they're a little short down the middle maybe now, Carolina. Like, I guess it's Kotkaniemi, their second line center. So,
yeah, I got
I mean,
Aho and Rantanen on their first line, though.
That is true, Bruce. That is true. That's a
2 stars from that great Finnish
and they
World
got
Junior team
Svechnikov
in 2016.
They both shoot left, but I guess Svechnikov. Oh, they both play the right wing and shoot left, him and Svechnikov. And one thing I wondered about that was they're getting a really similar player to Svechnikov in Rantanen. Is that a good idea to have like these 2 scoring wingers who are very, very similar? And
Edmonton's got 2 scoring centers. How's that working?
It's a little bit different.
They score enough.
Can both of those guys get a spot on the power play is the only issue. Does that work?
Question.
Yeah. Does that work? Because if not, then you have a really big problem. I guess they'll just have both on the power play and they'll figure it out. They can easily do that. So
I mean, Toronto's got a somewhat similar situation with Marner and Nylander.
Yeah.
They're both right wingers and they're both on the power play, and they often both get points together on the power play. And otherwise, they're mostly on 2 different lines because they play the same position.
Yeah,
and
I guess
you can make it work if the guys are good enough.
Yeah, they've got Seth Jarvis. He's not a center, is he? He's listed as a center on Hockey DB. So they've got Aho, Jarvis, Svechnikov, and now Rantanen. I guess those will be the 4 forwards with Shane Gostisbehere on the power play.
Yeah, well, their face-off I judge centers by face-offs.
Yeah, who are their face-offs?
Stahl, Aho, Drury, who they just traded, Kotkaniemi. So they've now got those were the 4 guys over 200 draws. So now they're down to 3. So someone's going to have to move into the middle, or they're going to have to make another move.
Maybe they'll see Jordan Stahl as their second line center. Like, he's still putting up lots of points. He might play the net front on power plays, though, Jordan Stahl. I'm just trying to figure out what their alignment might be.
No power play points.
Oh, he doesn't? Okay, he's got 27 points.
Yeah.
Even strength or shorthanded, so he's doing a really great job. Anyway, that's their problem. They can figure it out.
Svechnikov's got 9 power play goals and 6 assists, so he's a key. He's a gunner on the power play for them.
Yeah, Rantanen, was he? I can't remember his role on the power play. Was it kind of the off wing shooter like Draisaitl is essentially?
Largely, yeah. And
yeah.
He likes to play the right side anyway and cut into the middle. He's often the forgotten guy, in Colorado with McKinnon and McCarr that draw almost all of the attention. And yet Rantanen's numbers are pretty darn close to McKinnon's. And he just doesn't seem to have the same kind of star power. When you see a game, Edmonton's playing Colorado, well, it's McDavid against McKinnon. Well, yeah, and it's Draisaitl against Rantanen, and it's Bouchard against McCarr, and there's a few different ways you can match up stars in those games. But Rantanen kind of tended to be sort of the forgotten one, and I think in Carolina he might emerge as their top offensive guy.
Yeah, him and Aho, that's kind of a scary thought for Eastern Conference teams for sure. All right, Bruce, let's leave it there. You're doing the game grades tonight, so you got some work to do.
I do.
And thanks for talking.
A lot of work to do. I still got to review the last half of the game for scoring chances. I couldn't keep up with you during the game, so.
What a nightmare. A nightmare of grade A shots. It's called, Bruce.
Yeah. And first
right.
place, David, it's right in my headline. We didn't really talk about it during the podcast until
Well, I
your
did.
number at the
Well,
end. Your
first.
number at
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
But first place, I mean, it's a very weird way to finally claim it. But as of now, I think it's the first time in 5 years the Oilers have led their division. And I do know for a fact it's been 38 years since they won their division. So it's high time that they were in that kind of conversation. So it's great to see.
And I believe they're 4-2 this year without Connor McDavid. So there you go. Bruce, thanks for talking tonight.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.